Have you ever wondered how companies like Uber, Netflix, Amazon, LinkedIn, or even OpenAI process millions of events every single second without their systems falling apart? Every time you book a ride, place an order, send a message, or click a button on a website, an event is generated. The challenge isn't creating those events. The challenge is delivering them reliably to every system that needs them. That's exactly the problem Apache Kafka was built to solve. By the end of this video, you'll understand what Kafka is, why companies use it, and how concepts like producers, consumers, topics, partitions, and consumer groups all fit together. So what exactly is Kafka? The simplest way to think about Kafka is this. Kafka is a highly scalable event streaming platform. Or even simpler, it's a central place where applications continuously publish and consume events. These events can be anything. A customer logs in, a payment succeeds, a sensor reports temperature, a GPS device sends its location, a file is uploaded. Every event is stored safely inside Kafka before other applications process it. One important thing to understand is that Kafka doesn't immediately delete messages after they're read. Instead, it keeps them for a configurable amount of time, often several days. That means if a new application needs yesterday's data, it can simply read those old events again. This ability to replay historical events is one of Kafka's biggest strengths. Now let's understand the core building block of Kafka: topics. Think of a topic like a category. If you're running an e-commerce platform, you might have an orders topic, a payments topic, an inventory topic, and a customers topic. Each topic stores only one type of event. This keeps related data together and makes it easier for applications to find the information they need. But here's where Kafka becomes really powerful. Imagine your orders topic receives 10 million orders every day. Storing everything in one giant file would eventually become a bottleneck. Instead, Kafka splits every topic into smaller pieces called partitions. Think of partitions like checkout counters in a supermarket. Instead of making everyone stand in one long line, customers are distributed across multiple counters. Because multiple partitions can be processed at the same time, Kafka can handle enormous amounts of data in parallel. Every partition stores its messages in the exact order they arrive. Each message also receives a unique number called an offset. You can think of the offset as the line number of that message. Consumers use these offsets to remember exactly where they left off. Now let's see how applications actually interact with Kafka. Applications that send data into Kafka are called producers. Applications that read data from Kafka are called consumers. It's really that simple. Your payment service might produce payment events. Your inventory service might consume those events. Your analytics platform might consume those same events. Your fraud detection system might also consume those same events. Notice something interesting? The producer only wrote the message once, but multiple consumers were able to read the exact same message independently. That's one of Kafka's biggest advantages over traditional queues. Now imagine your application becomes extremely popular. One consumer isn't fast enough anymore. Can we simply add more consumers? Yes. That's where consumer groups come in. A consumer group is simply a team of consumers working together. Kafka automatically divides the partitions among them. Suppose a topic has 4 partitions. If you have 4 consumers in the same group, each consumer processes one partition. If one consumer crashes, Kafka automatically assigns its partition to another consumer. This gives both scalability and fault tolerance with very little effort. But what happens if an entire Kafka server crashes? Would all our data disappear? Thankfully, no. Kafka was designed for failures. Instead of storing data on just one machine, Kafka stores multiple copies of every partition. These copies are called replicas. Usually, there are 3 copies stored on 3 different servers. If one server goes offline, another replica immediately takes over. Applications continue running without even noticing. This is why Kafka is considered highly available and fault-tolerant. A collection of Kafka servers is called a cluster. Each server inside the cluster is called a broker. When you need more capacity, you don't buy one giant server. You simply add more brokers to the cluster. Kafka automatically spreads data across them. That's one of the reasons Kafka can scale from a few thousand events per second to millions of events per second. Kafka isn't just about moving data, it also comes with powerful tools. Software Streams lets you process data in real time. Imagine counting website visitors every minute or detecting suspicious credit card transactions as they happen. Instead of waiting until midnight to generate a report, Kafka Streams continuously processes incoming events and produces new results in real time. Kafka Connect solves another common problem. Connecting Kafka to databases, cloud storage, Elasticsearch, Snowflake, Postgres, BigQuery, and hundreds of other systems usually requires lots of custom code. Kafka Connect provides ready-made connectors, allowing you to move data with minimal configuration instead of writing integration code from scratch. Now here's something many Kafka tutorials don't tell you. Kafka is incredibly powerful, but it isn't always the right choice. If you're building a small application that processes only a few hundred events every day, introducing Kafka may add unnecessary complexity. Sometimes a database, Redis, RabbitMQ, or even a simple background job is all you need. Kafka shines when you have high volumes of real-time events, multiple independent consumers, the need to replay historical data, or systems that must remain loosely coupled at scale. So let's quickly recap. Kafka is a distributed event streaming platform. Applications write events using producers. Events are organized into topics. Topics are split into partitions for scalability. Consumers read those events. Consumer groups allow multiple consumers to share the workload. Replication keeps your data safe. Brokers work together as a cluster. Kafka Streams processes events in real time. Kafka Connect integrates Kafka with hundreds of external systems. Once you understand these concepts, you've already understood about 80% of what you'll use in Kafka during your day-to-day work. In future videos, we'll dive deeper into advanced topics like message ordering, exactly once processing, schema registry, Kafka transactions, KRaft, and how companies build massive real-time data platforms on top of Kafka.